Thanks for coming back for another Riverside story with Ryan. As you can see, I'm a sand child. Every trip has a sand child on it. Doesn't matter if you're in the Alpine or if you're on the river. The first couple days on an extended trip, there's somebody that out there that discovers sand. Maybe they knew this to be true, maybe not. But the first night, sitting around telling stories and sharing and that kind of stuff, they look at the sand and go, "What is this? What is this? Wow, this is really cool." Before you know it, they're grabbing sand and making piles. We've had one kid who by night 4 was full sand child, and before he knew it, he would lose himself into it, and he'd be just digging whole handfuls, and he dug this pit that was 3 feet deep in the middle of our circle. It was hugely entertaining and highly distractive. I've seen students by the end of the trip totally disregard their sleeping bags, and you'll find them in the morning buried up to their neck in the sand. And it's kind of a sweet surprise, as many of you guys have experienced when you get back. Maybe it's even a month or 2 later, and you discover just a little bit of sand, either in your clothing, sometimes in your hair, or when you clean your ears or something. And so it's a wonderful reminder of the trips. And with everything that's been going on, and a lot of us are in a state of shelter in place and social distancing and that kind of stuff, at YD, our hearts are towards everyone we've ever run a trip with. Over the years, for me, I've gotten to run trips with thousands of different people. I get to run into these people occasionally, and sometimes more than that, and it's a great gift to us. So know that in the middle of everything that's going on, that you're deep in our hearts and care a lot about you, and look forward to the time to share another trip and stories with you. And that's why we're out here today. As we've been thinking, we're kind of wondering what we can do to help support you in your time of sheltering in place. And so we thought, if nothing else, we can go down to the river and tell some stories and invite you to maybe transport back a little bit and remember those times, maybe some of the lessons that we gleaned, and then hope for the future of time that we can spend out again, maybe in a new normal, but out here again someday, and we're really looking forward to that time. And in that vein, I've trying to figure out stories of self-deprecation that I can share with you of when I was growing up, or other times that, type 2 fun that's become funny through time. But one story I want to tell you that we call Naked in the Pool. Growing up, we had a 3-foot pool in our backyard that we spent most of the summer in. One summer, I think the second or third year we had it, my dad and I built a deck to go around part of it so we could jump in and out and that kind of thing. And basically, we're giant manatees all summer in this little pool, and it was awesome. We got it when I think I was 9 or 10 years old, and about that same time, started to develop a fascination with streaking. There's this song that came out, my mom accidentally exposed me to, I think, about, look at that, they call him the streak. And I decided that at some point, I really wanted to go skinny dipping, and I thought it'd be really awesome. So along comes October, after having spent a long summer in the pool, and one day my dad said, "Well, we got to empty this thing here, son." So we got in there, my buddy Benny's there, and we've got buckets, and we're emptying the pool. Well, as you can imagine, it soon escalated into a full-on water fight, and it was awesome. 3 of us just flinging water and that kind of stuff. We're laughing and having ourselves a great time. There's about that much water left in the pool. Couldn't really get much out. We were tired. Sun was starting to go down. It's early October, and so we go inside to dry off and do another project or whatever we do on Sunday afternoons. And as we go in, I had this fabulous idea. Told my dad, my buddy Benny had gone in already. I go, "Dad, man, Mom probably really wouldn't want us tracking all this water inside. If I just take my clothes off, run inside, and then I can change there." My dad's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." So I strip naked and run back and jump into the pool. And I'm as happy as a little naked clam. And my dad looks at me and goes, "Oh." He goes in to change. I'm just there in about this much water in a 3-foot pool in a standard size lot in Wenatchee, Washington, just swimming around, thinking that this is pretty awesome. This whole streaking and skinny dipping thing is pretty all right. Well, After about 4 or 5 minutes, my dad comes and goes, Ryan, you better come in and change, or someone's gonna catch you. I'm like, no, or whatever prepubescent Ryan would say to his father. I don't know what it was. I'm sure it was silly. But pretty soon, there are people that come walking on here's our house, and behind the house was kind of a raised backyard. And then there was a canal ditch that most people used as a path. And so if I'm down here in the water and they're up here on the canal ditch, they have a pretty good line of sight down into about 2/3 of the pool. So I thought, oh, this isn't good. So I come up, as close to them as possible so they can't see me. My dad comes out, recognizes these walkers as his college friends, and goes, oh, hey, so-and-so college friends? And they stop, and I'm like, oh, well, I can wait this out if I just stay hunkered against the wall. And at this point, I'm not totally covering up everything, but I'm like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. No one's gonna see me. Well, as a lot of parents do, the conversation goes on, and my dad, after a while, can't take it anymore and tells them that I'm naked and in the pool down in there. And they go, hey, Ryan, nothing. And they keep trying to talk to me. If I'm like, hey. Well, if this is the pool, and if this is them up here on the walkway, then there's also 3 more sides that I could be approached by. We had neighbors on the, what would that be, south, neighbors on the north, the house this way, and the pool suddenly seems to be a lot less isolated than I had originally thought. My dad's up here talking to his college friends. The neighbor sees that there are people talking, and we had a really great neighborhood growing up. She comes out to come see what's going on, and then my dad and everyone else tells her that I'm naked in the pool. So I kind of maneuver around this way so I can be sheltered from both of them. Now I'm beginning to panic just a little bit, realizing the full extent of my nudity, and in my mental development, I'm not comfortable at all with what is developing. About a couple minutes later, it might have been an hour, I don't know, because time just seemed to not go by at all. All of a sudden, my mom, my sister's friends come home. And at that time, the whole neighborhood, we had about, I think, 9 or 11 of us that grew up in this neighborhood. And I was the only boy in that group. So as my sister came home, the neighbor girls saw that she was home, and they all came over. And before I knew it, every window of the house had somebody looking in it. And then, I don't know what else happened. I think helicopters were flying by, and I was imagining the news trucks were gonna show up, Ryan Bentley naked in a pool, live to you at 5 or something like that. Now, as happened to me a lot in most of my stories, I began to cry. So there I was, in that much water, in a 3-foot pool, surrounded by people, crying. And after a while, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure where people were gonna pop up next to see it. It's not like they were all standing there pointing. It's like all the little neighborhood girls, Mom would, get away from the window, get away from the window. But I could see them there. And finally, I'm huddled up there trying to cover myself up. I'm getting cold, the sun's going down, I'm nervous. And I flush like a pheasant from the bush. I jump up, run through that much water to the edge of the pool, climb out of it, buck naked, and then sprint into the house and run to the basement where I live to change and to hide. So, I don't know, to me it's a funny story of growing up. It was referred to often in years to come. Didn't quite break me of wanting to go out and go skinny dipping and streaking, but it put a big damper on it from then on out. But I don't know. For us, when we're out here, it's fun to share embarrassing stories. It's a way that we can commiserate and know that we're all human. Just some of the stories that pop into mind when we get to sit around and talk. It's pretty fun. So yeah, thanks for checking in and listening. Yeah, hope we get to share an adventure soon. Thanks. One of my favorite stories is of the time that I survived a major cougar attack. Don't know if you know this or not, but yeah, came really close one time when I was a young man.